I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about never trust them again. Well, there are going to be times in your life where you come across someone who will mistreat you, lie to you, manipulate you, abuse you, and when this happens, you have to have enough self-respect and self-esteem to walk away from the situation. Obviously, anybody that you date will make mistakes and lose their temper from time to time. But sometimes the behavior is just so unacceptable, you have to walk away and never look back. Okay? If you tolerate that kind of behavior, you're going to be feeling awful inside all the time, not only because of what they're doing to you, but when you're trying to make a relationship or commitment work with somebody who just mistreats you or neglects you over and over again, it just makes the relationship fall apart. In this video, I've got an email coaching that I just feel like this guy has got to walk away, not look back, and never trust this woman again. Because as you're about to see, her behavior is downright cruel. Okay? So this is an email coaching from a guy who's in his early 60s. We'll call him Nomar. Okay? And he says, I'm writing to discuss a relationship with Yolanda, which ended about a year ago. Her name's not Yolanda. I just like saying it. Yolanda. So, this relationship ended a year ago. And this guy is still hurting over it, right? So let's see what happened here. He says, even now, I'm not sure who would be considered the dumpee and the dumper. But I was the one that was almost destroyed after a few months of paralyzing anxiety. Now, I could tell you that this guy had a very difficult childhood. I left off some of that at the beginning of the email because it went on a little bit too long, and I really wanted to get into the heart of this situation. Okay? Now, they live in different states. Okay? And what he says is, after I retired, I began going on cruises with large groups of single people from various parts of the country. I enjoyed the trips, seeing some wonderful sights and being with people my age group and not feeling alone. So good for him. He found himself a good support group of friends and people he could travel with, and sounds like it was going well. Until Yolanda. You'll see. Last January, I went on another cruise and met Yolanda almost immediately. I started out being polite and friendly, but she made the first move, and we were intimate almost immediately. We spent almost every moment of the remainder of the trip together. It was wonderful. Okay, so sometimes you meet somebody and you have that kind of chemistry and sparks right away, and it feels great and amazing. Just got to remember, you don't really know this person, who they are, or what they're capable of, as he's about to find out. Okay. She is also retired and was a widow for only 3 months when I met her. Okay, it's a big red flag right there. We know that she's in her 60s. We don't know how long she's been married for. Maybe a long time. But we know she's only been widowed for 3 months. So what does that mean? She's probably depressed and grieving and not in any state for a new relationship or a commitment. Okay? It's a red flag. You'd have to be careful here. Okay? So let's see what happens. She's only been a widow for 3 months. I took it as an indicator for me to proceed with caution. Good. Later, some other women on the trip told me the first night she was all over some other guy on the trip until she was told by others that he was there on the trip with his girlfriend. Okay, so what does that tell me? She's looking to hang out, hook up, get wild, okay? And my guess would be because she's grieving and she's acting out so she doesn't have to think about the death. People can act out when they're grieving to forget about their problems. Or if she's depressed, acting out, hooking up is going to make you release all those chemicals in your brain. It's going to be exciting and fun. And it keeps you from thinking about your husband that just passed away. As we lived not too far apart, we thought we could continue the relationship after the cruise. They live in separate states. I drove down to her state and we spent a wonderful 4 days together. She has no children or close family nearby. She insisted I called her every night and also that I send her love emojis by text before I went to bed. Her tones and conversation were usually sexual in nature. Okay, so he's enjoying this attention. They're hooking up. He's getting attached to her. But her husband only passed away 3 months ago. When we first got back from the trip, she told me she had met a man who was very interested in her, but that she didn't return the interest and would not see him again. Sounds a little suspicious. Wonder what made her tell him that. Was it transparency, or was there something else going on here? Well, based on the title of the video, I'm sure you could guess. Okay? This gave me pause, but I put it aside. The COVID lockdown began. We continued to talk and text, and my feelings for her intensified. I mistakenly let her slip into my heart. I thought she cared. Then, one day, she called me to ask me not to call her that night. She said she and a man she knew were going to spend the day together. And that night, they would be cementing the relationship. Wow. Pretty horrible, right? Here you are thinking things are going well. We're texting every night. We're having a good time. And now she's spending the day with another guy and tells you she's going to be cementing the relationship, which we all know what that means. I mean, that's just cruel. That's really cruel to do to somebody. It's selfish. And it shows that she has no empathy or compassion for this guy. And I think she's using him like an object. She doesn't really care about how he feels. I mean, this is really messed up. He says, I was in shock. I asked her if it was serious, and she said that he was very serious, meaning the other guy. Turns out she had been seeing the guy she supposedly wasn't going to see again all along. Hence the title of the video, Never Trust Them Again. I mean, she's completely misleading this guy. And that's what I have a serious problem with. If she said to him, I only want to be casual. I don't want anything exclusive. I want us to see other people and see how it goes. But I'm never going to see this guy again. Oh, by the way, we're seeing each other tomorrow and we're cementing the relationship that night. So, don't bother texting or calling. We'll be busy. Ugh, horrible. Horrible. I didn't call her that night as she requested, but I wrote an email stating that I couldn't see her anymore. Good. That was a good email, man. I'm glad you stood up for yourself. She didn't read that email. The next night, she called me and began telling me what an exhausting weekend she had. Oh, you poor thing. You had such an exhausting weekend. I mean, how he didn't have the restraint to just hang up on her right then and there and just block her immediately. I mean, we know what she's implying. It's bad enough that she said we're going to be cementing the relationship, but now to throw this in his face? I asked her if she had read my email, and when she said she hadn't, I told her that I couldn't see her, visit her, or talk to her again. Good. She immediately became very upset and started crying. Oh, this poor thing. She's upset and she's crying. Isn't that awful? This woman is just horrible. And what she did to him is awful. I have no compassion for her being sad or upset because I threw this other guy in your face. I was upset also, but I told her I wasn't going to wait for the other shoe to drop. And how could she say such a painful thing to me? Yes, exactly. How could she do that? Where is her empathy? How could she be so clueless? I asked her, what if I had told her the same thing? Exactly. How could I visit or call her at night? I told her all I could think about was her lying in bed with another guy. Yeah, and exactly what we'd all be thinking because she literally threw it in his face. She told me not to think that way. Instead, picture her and I in bed together. Is this not infuriating? I mean, this is infuriating for me. Like, I'm being nice here, okay? I want to drop a lot of F-bombs is what I really want to do. Because this is so messed up, right? Like, he's saying, I can't talk to you anymore because all I can picture is you with another dude. You're in bed with this other guy. And she says, oh, don't even think about it like that. Just imagine you in bed with me. Infuriating. After that, I deleted her phone number. I also unfriended her from Facebook and made it so only friends could see my postings. She messaged me a few times asking me to put her back on. All she cares about is herself. So now she got sad and got separation anxiety that he rejected her. And so now she's like, yeah, don't do this to me. This is too much for me. It's so horrible. Meanwhile, what she did to him was like a million times worse. She wanted to follow him if he could abide it. Yeah, no thanks. I put her on 3 more times and took her off 3 more. It was too hard for me. Yeah, who and why wouldn't it be? She asked me to call her, and I did once. She sounded as cold as ice, and I cried. One final time, she asked me to put her back on Facebook. So she says, put me on Facebook. Then she asks him to call her. He does, and she's cold. Unbelievable. I told her I needed to know what was going on with this other man and if he knew about me. She didn't answer for a couple of minutes and then was annoyed. Oh, sorry for annoying you when you asked me to call you. This is awful. Finally, she said they were together, but no set plans had been made between them. Oh, okay, that makes it better. I believed she was lying to me again. Why would you think she was lying? That makes me think or feel like you're in denial about that. I don't think she's lying. I mean, she's quite capable of lying. I don't know. Let's see. Regardless, she said if I put her back on Facebook, oh, lucky me, I get to put you back again for the 9th time? It was only as friends and not as a girlfriend. And that she was with the other guy and she would never betray a trust. Could you imagine this woman repeatedly violating your trust in such extreme ways, and then to say, I'm this guy's girlfriend now, and I would never betray a trust after she's betrayed your trust this long? Oh my gosh. Maybe he'll give out her phone number. We could all call her up and curse her out, because this is pretty bad. She said I sounded like maybe this was too hard for me. You think? Now you're figuring that out? But she would keep it in her mind to someday contact me again. Sounds more like a threat. I didn't believe it, but I told her okay and one final goodbye. This was last July, and I've heard nothing since. She's doing you a favor, man. This woman is terrible. Okay? This is awful. And I know it was fun and exciting in the beginning, but you really didn't know her. And if you really look at her behavior, she was terrible before she even met you. She was hitting on the other guys when he had the girlfriend on the trip, and then she went from him to you like nothing, which tells me it wasn't really about who you were, just using you, which you might have enjoyed in the beginning, but I don't think you're doing that so much now. He says, I went through terrible depression. This wasn't your fault. This wasn't your fault. And maybe you're feeling like you did something wrong, but I don't see anything you did that caused this at all. I felt tied up in knots. I was vomiting. I was walking around in a daze, and my friends and family grew extremely worried about me. I went to a couple of psychiatrists who prescribed different medications, but they made me feel strange and feel worse. I threw them away. I went to a social worker for several sessions, and talking about it made me feel better, though she was still on my mind. Yeah, talking about things always feels good. You know, sometimes you guys are in a situation where you don't want the ex back. You'll feel better talking about with me and Margaret, despite not necessarily wanting a strategy to get them back. Just talking about it with us will make you feel a lot better, because we know these things. We know how breakups go, and we know how awful they are. So we get it. Recently, curiosity got the better of me, and I Googled her name. Curious to see if there was a wedding announcement, I think. So now you're worried that she's going to marry this other guy? That makes me think that you might be catastrophizing over this a little bit. I discovered through various sources online, stalking, you've been stalking, that the other guy had moved into her home, and they were at least a couple, if not married. Well, if she's marrying this guy, good luck to him. He's gonna need it. I was never going to do anything further with this information, but it bothered me. Then, out of the blue, I got a notification from Yolanda. She had liked one of my Facebook posts from last November. I'm sure she knew I would see that. Oh, of course she knew that. I had no idea how she saw it, as my posts were supposedly only appear to friends. There was no comment to go with the like. Interesting that she was able to find that and stalk you. But how selfish of her. After everything she's done, it's all about her. She doesn't care about how you feel if she comes back. She's not seemed to care about how you feel throughout all of this. It's always been about her. You can't be in a relationship with somebody like this. He goes on to say, I was dumbfounded, asking myself what this meant. I didn't contact her or reply. I am also unable to view her Facebook, as it is kept private as well. This like came well after our final goodbye. I was wondering if this could have been an example of what you call an indirect direct approach. Well, it's on the cusp. It's about as minimal as you could get. Usually an indirect direct is more of an excuse to contact you. Like, have you seen my pliers? This was like, you know, a direct bid to make a connection with you, but it was so minimal. And after everything she did for you, there's absolutely no way I would consider responding to that. I mean, even if she was begging and pleading to talk to me, I think I would just be like, listen, I wish you all the best, but I don't trust you. And after the way you treated me and the things that you did, I'm never going to trust you again. I mean, you have to look at somebody's character. This occurred only a week ago. I'm not sure what to think. There is part of me that would like to see her again. I think we all know which part would like to see her again. But there is also a part of me that says it would be just too painful and we could never be together again, as I could never trust her again. And that would be this part, telling you, no. I'm not interested in another heartbreak again. Do you think I should respond in some way? Thanks a lot, Nomar. Absolutely not. I mean, respond to what? A like? After everything she's done to you? No, there's no way in the world. I probably wouldn't even respond to a really thoughtful, long, considerate, empathetic message from her. Honestly, after everything that she did to him, it was horrible. I mean, she lied to him. She didn't care about his feelings. She hid things from him. And then she threw another guy in his face. Like, out of nowhere, don't call me tonight. I'm going to be cementing my relationship with a new guy. I mean, she's just incredibly disrespectful and selfish. And the only thing she seems to care about is how she feels. Okay? And, you know, I know that it was fun and exciting briefly on that cruise, but it really wasn't much more than that. And I think that you have got to work on your self-esteem and think about what deal breakers are. And there are so many here that this woman is not relationship material. She's probably still grieving the loss of her husband, and maybe that's part of the reason she was acting out and acting so selfishly. But, you know, it doesn't justify it, okay? Mistreating you so badly, so often, it just doesn't justify it. And I haven't heard any apology. I haven't heard anything here that she's sorry for how she hurt you, she didn't mean to, that she wishes she had done things different. There's nothing here that says this woman is dateable for me. Maybe some of you guys will see something different in the comments. You can leave a comment, but please don't blame yourself. Okay? This was not your fault. And there are millions of single women out there that would treat you better than this. If you tolerate stuff like this, people won't respect you. And if they don't respect you, they're not going to love you anyway. I would block this woman on everything. I would make your social media private if you had to, even more so, to keep her from contacting you again. Or you could even just, if she contacts you again in the future, which she's so selfish, I think she could, I would just say, please don't contact me again. You know, you'll only get hurt by dating somebody like this and getting attached to somebody like this. And so you have to pay close attention to somebody's character and their integrity or lack thereof it. And, you know, as much as I feel bad for you going through this, I would say you don't want to continue this and allow her to continue to hurt you, which I think she would do. Okay? So this is a situation where I would say I would never trust this person again. Maybe some of you would. I would not. Okay? I haven't seen anything from her character that implies any kind of mature behavior whatsoever. So I'm sorry you went through this, And, I'm sure you're learning a lot about trauma and attachment trauma, which you've had in your childhood. And that's part of the reason that you're struggling over this. Because when you get to a really good, secure place within yourself, you see behavior like this and you're like, oh, the hell with this person. And you walk away a lot easier. But when you have attachment trauma, it's a lot harder to do so. Okay? So, very difficult situation. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comment section. Of course, if you want to get my help personally, just go to my website, askcraig.net. Sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Of course, Coach Margaret is available for Skype coaching. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon. To get my help personally, go to askcraig.net and click on Schedule Coaching and choose the option that works best for you. I do email coaching or Skype. To schedule a coaching with Margaret, click on Margaret on the top of the page and order a Skype with her. For the Knowledge Creative Healing course, click on the link at the top of the page and click Get Started Now.